Yeah.
All right, I grew up my early 20s going to a different church in Columbia. In Columbia and Augusta. But as I got older, I just started hearing things from the leadership. Still hearing things that made me feel uncomfortable. I shouldn't have heard. You shouldn't hear in that setting. So I quit going to church. Just kind of lost all my faith in church, not in God, but in the church. And so, I quit going for 20 plus years, I'd say. And then over here, I started getting closer with my nephew, Buff Waters, and his wife, Chrissy. And we started doing dinners on Thursday night, family dinners, doing Thursday nights. And so got increasingly closer to them, and they started inviting me to come to Grace. And so I would, and enjoyed it. It felt real comfortable. There was no pressure for anything. But I did not fully commit yet. So I would just go sporadically. Got to meet a lot of friends though through this. Ron and Laurie Matthews, Tony and Martha Ginn. And still not 100%. So a few years later, my wife Janet came into my life. And she came over with us a couple of times, and she fell in love with Grace. And probably a year after we got married, we went ahead and joined the church. A couple of years later, this is weird, I know Buff mentioned to me one night and this is because Dewey Wilson, a member of Grace, got word about this group called F3, Men's Exercise Group. And Buff, according to Buff, I was going to do it regardless. He volunteered me regardless. I had no say in it, so I was in F3. And so we'd work out 3 times a week, and like I say, Eddie Wilson and Tyler Strange, the associate pastor at the time, was also in F3. I've heard about the Real Men Read thing through Tyler Strange. He started that up, I don't know if he started that up or not, but he was big behind it. And but because my faith was growing a little more through the church and my wife, I decided to volunteer for it, which is something I never do, would have never done 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But through Grace, I did do it, and I did it for 2 years, and enjoyed doing it. And other things that I'm real withdrawn a lot of times, so I'm not really outwardly with a lot of speaking and all, as you can tell by watching this. I remember always having a phobia about praying out loud. And I said this to Tyler Strange one time, and he laughed at that and evidently based one of his sermons on that, praying out loud or something like that. And but I started doing that more as I grew. I also started volunteering for a couple more things around here. Doing Return to Bethlehem. I do it. I volunteered to do it, play a character, or do it. I've done it for the last 3 times. 4, 3? Okay. The last 3, that, again, something I would have never done. Also, now I'm a greeter, one of the greeters out, Walmart greeter, and a Grace greeter, not just Grace greeter. And so me and Janet do that, and enjoy that. And communion a couple times. I've done that. And well, actually I've done it only once. I will try to do it more. But but these are things that I would have never done without Grace, without feeling so welcome, and getting my faith back. And it's provided me opportunity to gain it back. Not only, in God, but in the church again. I have been very happy with Grace.